Most dog behavior problems don't start because people have bad dogs or because dog owners are trying to do things the wrong way. They start because good people with good intentions unknowingly make the same handful of mistakes repeatedly. In this video, I put together several lessons covering the most common mistakes that I see dog owners make with puppies, with adolescent dogs, with reactive dogs, and with your everyday household pets. Most importantly, I'm going to tell you exactly how to fix these common mistakes before they turn into bigger issues down the road. So let's dive in, identify those mistakes, and fix them. Did you know that most puppy owners accidentally create the exact problems that they end up struggling with later? Separation anxiety, reactivity, aggression, resource guarding, destruction in the house, no boundaries, no impulse control. And the craziest part about all of that is that all of those behaviors start in puppyhood. Now, I work with dogs dealing with serious behavioral issues every single day at my facility, from anxiety, fear, aggression, reactivity, resource guarding, and all of these behaviors started out as cute puppy behavior that nobody addressed early on, and the problem just keeps getting worse. So let's go through the top 5 biggest mistakes that puppy owners make and talk about exactly how to avoid creating those problem behaviors in the first place. Mistake number 1, never practicing separation when you are home with your puppy. This is one of the most subtle mistakes that dog owners make, and they don't even realize that it's a mistake while it's happening. People are constantly with their puppy. The puppy follows them from room to room. They pick up their puppy and take them everywhere. People just love to have that little cute little shadow following them everywhere, but it's honestly not good for the puppy. And I get why it happens. People, again, it's cute. People want the little puppy following them around, and they think that the puppy just loves them, but that's not what's happening here. Your puppy is actually learning that they do get to access you everywhere you go throughout the house, and that access becomes a need where they're thinking, I need to follow you everywhere in the house so that I know where you are at all times. And then owners are shocked when these dogs develop separation anxiety, or they're whining all the time, or they can't settle on their own, or they're crying in the crate. Think about it from the puppy's perspective. You've never taught them how to exist in their independence while you are home. You need to intentionally practice separation when you are home with your puppy. Now, I talk about this all the time, but this can be done with crate work when you are home with your puppy. This can be done by tethering your puppy. This could be done with a playpen. This could be done using baby gates. There are many ways to create intentional separation from your puppy when you're home. But it's very, very critical that you do this because independence is not something that dogs know on their own. It's an intentionally taught skill. Mistake number 2, terrible potty training habits. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Most people completely overcomplicate potty training. Here's a hot take that I don't think is a hot take. Your dog should be potty trained within like 3 to 4 weeks. Completely. Like, no more accidents in the home. It's very simple to potty train your dog. You take them out very frequently and you make sure that they do not have an accident in the home. They do not have a chance to go to the bathroom inside the house. But this is where all the mistakes happen, right? The owners will take the puppy outside. They spend 10 minutes talking to the puppy.
Come on, go potty. Let's go. Come on. Good boy, good girl. Come on, go potty.
And then the puppy is so overstimulated that they never end up going to the bathroom outside. And you're showing your puppy in those moments, you're teaching them that when we go outside, they get lots of attention, they get lots of treats, they get lots of affection, they're sniffing around the entire time, and they forget what they're supposed to do out there. So then the owner brings the puppy inside, I guess he doesn't have to go, and then the puppy pees on the floor right away. So why does that always happen? Why does that keep happening for owners? It's because people overcomplicate the potty break. Potty breaks should be very clear and boring activities. Oh yeah, and like the biggest mistake of all, use a leash. You put your puppy on a leash, take your puppy outside, and then ignore them. Let them go to the bathroom. People let puppies run around the yard like a maniac and they're just going crazy when they're supposed to be going to the bathroom. Now, I'm not saying don't let your puppy go crazy in the yard, but when you're taking your puppy, especially in the early stages, when you're potty training them, you go outside to use the bathroom. There's a purpose for that. Potty training should look like this. You walk outside calmly on a leash. You stand still and ignore your dog. Let them sniff their area and don't let them drag you wherever, but let them sniff their designated potty area. When they do go to the bathroom, reward them. Tell them, yes, good boy, good girl, good boy, yes. Then we give them the affection after they've done what they're supposed to do. And then we come back inside calmly again. There's one purpose for that activity. We go outside, we potty, we come in. That clarity right there speeds up the whole potty training process massively. Mistake number 3, this one might be my favorite, but not crate training your puppy. Let me just be completely clear with you. If your puppy is not taught how to calmly exist in independence and isolation in their crate, you're almost guaranteed to run into behavioral problems down the road. The crate is not punishment. It's not jail. It's not this, torture box that we put our puppy away in. No, it should be their little home, their little den, the place that they enjoy going to so that they can relax and be calm. When done properly, the crate teaches calmness, independence, emotional regulation, and how to settle. Without crate training, your puppy will probably become overly dependent on you, overstimulated by their environment, not getting enough sleep, and unable to relax regularly. And then owners will say later on, as the dog enters adolescence or maybe even early adulthood, my dog has separation anxiety. Well, no kidding. You've literally never showed your dog how to relax and how to be calm in their independence. All right, mistake number 4, giving puppies too much freedom too soon. This is a massive one that leads to behavioral problems. Your puppy should have basically zero free time unsupervised. And almost no one does this. People just bring the puppy into the house and just let them decide what they're gonna do. And remember, puppies have no idea how to exist in our world. We have to teach them, but people just let them make mistake after mistake after mistake. And then those mistakes turn into really bad habits. Every second that your puppy is left unsupervised, they are rehearsing behaviors, good or bad. If you get lucky, 1 in 100 puppies will be just calm on their own and just never venture into behavioral problems. But the rest of those puppies are always doing the wrong things because they don't know any better. They're chewing on furniture, they're stealing items, they're barking in the window, they're peeing in the house, they're pooping in the house. These are all behaviors that are happening because we don't have eyes on them. And then owners will say, this came out of nowhere. It's like, no, it didn't. You've literally let them kind of navigate their world on their own, let them decide what they want to do, what they're allowed to do, and now you're just realizing you're dealing with the consequences. Your job as a puppy owner is to supervise them, guide your puppy, set them up for success, interrupt bad choices early. When you see your dog going to bite on the furniture or bark in the window, interrupt them, grab their leash. They should be wearing a leash in the house. Grab the leash, tell them no, give them a direction on what they should be doing. And number 4, basically what I just said, teach your puppy what you want them to do. That is how good habits are built. Number 5, and you see this all the time, people love to reward overexcitement. Most people accidentally create very chaotic and emotionally unstable dogs. They reward jumping, they reward barking, they reward nipping, they reward general chaos and overexcitement. The thing I think of in particular with this one is when you have a friendly puppy, your golden retriever puppies, your lab puppies, and they're just going crazy and be like, oh my God, and they're just always stimulating that dog and then wonder why they're crazy. And I get it. It's because it's cute puppy energy and people love puppies. But man, you're teaching that dog that chaos gets them what they want. Overexcitement leads to reward. When the puppy grows up, all these habits that you've rewarded while they were a puppy, suddenly it's not so cute. When that little lab puppy is now jumping like a maniac, or that little golden retriever puppy that you were loving on is now bolting out the door, well, again, you created this when they were young. Your puppy does not need chaos and overstimulation. Your puppy needs to learn how to be neutral, impulse control, and generally how to be calm. The biggest skill that you can ever teach a puppy is how to be calm. That is what I work with, and all the puppies that I see in my facility, I set them up showing them how to be neutral around other dogs, while we play with other dogs, while we interact with other dogs. That's how you create a very, very emotionally well-balanced, stable puppy. Why not? Bonus mistake number 6 is thinking that puppies will just grow out of problem behaviors. People are thinking, well, they're a puppy. They'll learn to not do that behavior, or they'll outgrow that, or it's just a phase. But that's not the case in most of the times. Some behaviors are very normal puppy behavior. Of course, your puppy is learning, but rehearsal matters. The more a behavior is practiced, the stronger it becomes. Puppies don't magically grow out of behaviors. They do, however, grow into habits, good or bad. Not because the puppy was bad, but because nobody taught the puppy what actually matters. The stuff that actually matters: structure, boundaries, calmness, And last but certainly not least, independence. Your puppy is learning all throughout the day, every single day, whether you realize it or not. As soon as you bring your puppy into your home, training starts. Now, I'm not talking about obedience, but you're teaching that dog what you allow in the house, what you don't allow in the house, what their routine looks like from the moment they step into your house. So stop waiting for problems to appear and start creating the dog that you want right now when they're a puppy. Your life will be so much easier this way, I promise you. Teach your dog what structure is. Teach your dog about boundaries. Teach your dog independence. Show them how calmness gets them what they want. That is how you prevent problem behaviors before they even start. You need to stop excusing your dog's bad behavior because they're a rescue. And if you keep excusing your dog's bad behavior because they're a rescue, you're actually holding your dog back from ever getting better. I've actually never owned anything other than a rescue dog in my life. All 3 of my dogs right now are really well-behaved dogs, all capable of doing anything I need to be able to do with them. But that doesn't mean that they came to me that way. Bullet and Bones had minor things. They didn't know how to walk nicely on the leash, they were a little bit reactive, and they just generally needed manners, potty training, etc., but nothing really too serious. But my Cane Corso, Booker, came to me with serious issues, such as reactivity and resource guarding. And for such a powerful breed like that, you know that that is a serious issue. And now he's my demo dog at my facility where he helps other dogs that are going through challenges such as reactivity. None of that would have been possible if I would have just excused all his bad behavior because he was a rescue. It sure as hell would have been easier to do because why work through all those challenges? It was not easy and it took a lot of work for me, but I did work him through all of that. He has none of those issues anymore, so I know it's possible. So this video is absolutely not about ignoring a dog's past. It's about not letting it define their future. I loved every single one of my rescue dogs as soon as I brought them into the house. I gave them all the toys, I gave them all the food, all the treats, gave them constant love and attention, but none of the behavioral problems that Booker had got any better. Booker was my 4th dog, and with the other 3, like I said, we didn't have many behavioral challenges. Like there was never anything super serious. So I thought I knew everything. I thought I knew exactly how to be a great dog owner. But Booker brought out more for me. He showed me exactly how to be a proper leader for a powerful dog. And that is what I now do for all of my dogs, and they all live better lives because of it. And I don't say this to brag. I don't say this for anything other than I've done it. I know exactly what it takes, and I want to help you too. Now, I understand why all of these problems happen. I understand where people make these mistakes. Adopting a dog is a very emotional event. People tend to feel really bad for all the dogs in the shelters, and I get that. I feel that too. But if you get caught up in just loving your rescue dog, you're actually setting them up for failure. Your rescue dog needs love from you, absolutely. They need your unconditional support, without a doubt. But they need so much more than that. Let's talk about 5 common mistakes that dog owners make when adopting a rescue dog and exactly what to do instead. Number 1, people lower the standard for rescue dogs. As soon as someone says, he's a rescue or she's a rescue, the expectations drop.
It's okay he's reactive, he's a rescue. It's okay she pulls, she's a rescue. It's okay he doesn't listen, he's a rescue.
No, it's not. It's absolutely not okay if your dog does any of those things just because they're a rescue. You need to keep the same exact standard for your rescue dog as you would from any dog that you got from a breeder. That might require you to be more patient. That might require many more repetitions. It might require you to be a different leader than you've ever had to be. But the end goal remains the exact same, to have a calm and confident dog that lives happily in the world. Number 2, people feel bad for setting boundaries for their rescue dog.
I don't want to correct him, he's been through a lot.
So you avoid saying no. You avoid having structure. You avoid any type of accountability for your dog's behavior. That right there is exactly how to create a dog with behavioral problems. Instead, you need to change the way that you view boundaries. Boundaries are not punishment. They're clarity. When you're able to clearly define for your dog what's allowed and what's not allowed, that's actually how they start to feel safe in their environment, in your home, because they stop having to guess. You need to stop feeling bad for telling your dog no, for putting in boundaries. Your dog needs that information. It's critical for them in order to know exactly what they're supposed to do in your house. Without it, you're really just setting up your dog for failure. Number 3, people tend to overcompensate with affection with their rescue dog. Now, this is a big one. I used to be this person. My wife used to be this person. I get it. I get where people are coming from on this one. Most of the time, we don't even really know our rescue dog's past. We don't know exactly what they've been through, but people have a tendency of making up these stories of what must have happened to their dog to be scared or nervous or reactive or potentially aggressive, resource guarding, you name it. They've come up with these stories, and a lot of times it really just hinders the dog from being able to become better. So instead of trying to give this dog a stable home with clear boundaries, clear limits, clear expectations, and instead of trying to work through any behavioral challenges, they just choose to take the easy way. They want to shower the dog with constant affection, shower the dog with constant attention, have absolutely no boundaries. Your rescue dog comes in and has immediate access to everything in the house because
They just need love in order to feel good. They just need love in order to be good dogs.
And that's not true. What you're actually creating is dependency. What you're actually creating is entitlement. And this leads directly to behavioral problems. Dependency on you and your constant affection and attention creates anxiety in dogs. It creates instability. Easy way to create separation anxiety. Giving them full run of the house before they know exactly what to do in the house is an easy way to create reactivity or resource guarding. And those are serious problems. Instead, what you need to do is give your dog what they need, not what just makes you feel good. Every dog, but especially rescue dogs, need structure. They need clarity. They need guidance. They need to know exactly what's allowed in the house and exactly what's not allowed in the house. They need to be held accountable for their actions. When they are doing the wrong thing, you need to interrupt that behavior and tell them no, knock it off. Provide a consequence that matters to them for the things that they're not supposed to do. Absolutely, you're supposed to give your dog food. You're supposed to give your dog treats. You're supposed to give your dog love. You're supposed to give your dog toys. I'm not saying that's not true. You need to be doing those things, but you do need to keep in mind what your dog is doing when they are getting those items from you. If you've adopted a dog recently and you notice they're struggling with separation anxiety, when you leave it's really hard for them, or maybe they're reactive on every single walk, I have made videos about that can help you with that. Number 4, people avoid challenging situations with rescue dogs.
He or she's a rescue. I don't want to stress them out at all.
People are afraid to expose their rescue dog to any bit of stress, so they avoid taking their dog into new environments. They avoid exposing their dogs to new people or new dogs. They avoid doing anything that causes their dog slight bit of stress or discomfort in that moment. And while that might seem easier if you just don't want to deal with it, or if you're afraid to expose your dog to anything that might be a little bit stressful for them, what you're actually doing is you're never teaching your dog how to live calmly and confidently in the world. Dogs don't just develop confidence out of nowhere. Dogs develop confidence by overcoming obstacles, by working through things, not just avoiding them. Instead, you do need to control the exposure that your dog has to new stimulus, to new environments, to new people, to new dogs, etc. You do need to introduce changes gradually, but you do need to do all of these things. You can't just avoid them. If you avoid them for life, your dog will never get better. Number 5, people let their rescue dog's past define their future. Don't get me wrong, your dog's past matters. It does, but it shouldn't define everything that you do moving forward. When you're constantly worried about your dog's past, even if you don't know what the past was, you stop them from being able to get better in the future. You stop expecting your dog to change. You stop expecting your dog to get better. And if you stop expecting it, it will never happen. Instead, you definitely need to respect your dog's past. Your dog might have been through some challenges, but you need to train for the now and you need to train for the future. Dogs are incredibly resilient. Dogs are incredibly adaptable. They live in the now. They're not dwelling on the past and they're not thinking too much about the future. And that's exactly what makes them great. Your dog is capable of so much more than you think. Now let me be clear, your rescue dog may have gone through some things. May have. A lot of our dogs from the shelters, we don't know their past. So it doesn't do them any good for you to create up some hypothetical situation where it was so traumatic for them so that you hinder them from being able to get better in the future. Your rescue dog might need more time. They might need more patience from you. They might need more guidance. They might need you to be a leader in a way that you've never had to be for any dog that you've ever had before. It also doesn't help that in the rescue community, in a lot of shelters, they don't actually tell you what it takes. For example, I saw a post on social media about a Cane Corso who was like 3 or 4 years old. It was very clear that he had separation anxiety from their Facebook post, but instead of saying he'll need an owner that can help him work through his issues regarding separation, They said that they need somebody that needs to be home with him all the time. And that just keeps the dog stuck. That's not how you're gonna solve that problem. You're gonna have to actually work with that dog. Remember, even if your dog is a rescue dog, they need more than just your affection. They need structure. They need guidance, they need leadership, they need clear expectations and clear communication from you as the owner in order to be successful. And I'm here to help anybody who is struggling with their rescue dog and wants more for them. If I can do it with a powerful breed like a Cane Corso, you can do it too with your rescue dog. The term rescue dog should explain where your dog comes from. It should not be an excuse for where they stay, because the absolute best thing that you can do for your dog is not feel bad for them. It's help them improve. It's help them reach their full potential. Help them be exactly the dog that you know that they can be. Now, if your dog is reactive, anxious, or just plain out of control, there's a good chance that you trained it that way. Not intentionally, of course, but through small, little, everyday habits. These 3 mistakes, I see them every single day. Now, let me be very, very clear. Behavioral problems don't come out of nowhere. They're rehearsed, they're practiced, and they're allowed by dog owners. And the scariest part is that most dog owners are reinforcing their behavioral problems without even realizing it. Let's talk about it. Number 1, letting your dog sit out the window and bark all day long at everything that passes by. I see this every single day when I go for a walk with my own dogs. In my neighborhood, you can literally pass by at least every other house has a dog sitting in the window, barking its head off while we just calmly walk by. And that is a major, major problem that I think most dog owners don't realize, that is your dog rehearsing the act of being reactive. Now, they're mostly small dogs, but that's a conversation for another time. By allowing your dog to do this all day long, your dog is doing the following: sitting on guard, scanning the environment, waiting for something to react to, exploding whenever they do see something, and then watching it go away. Rinse and repeat. From your dog's perspective, I see something maybe that I don't like coming towards my house. I bark at it, that thing goes away, and I just did my job. Even though they don't realize those things were never coming into their environment fully, like into the house, ever. What most dog owners don't realize is that barking in the window becomes the following: leash reactivity, fence fighting, territorial aggression, and just general hypervigilance. And then owners will just say, oh, he's just protective. No, that's not it. Your dog is reactive, it's not protective. And he's really, really good at being reactive because you've allowed him to practice it every single day. Number 2, on-leash greetings. For the love of God, please stop letting your dog greet every single dog, or any dog for that matter, on walks. It's what I call a lose-lose situation. Because the best case scenario is that you come up and you guys are meeting another dog on leash, and your dogs awkwardly bounce around for a little bit. Maybe they even play for a couple minutes and both dogs enjoy it, and then you go on with your walk and it's over. What did you gain there? Nothing meaningful, but you just risked a lot. Now, the worst case scenario is that there is a ton of tension when the dogs are meeting. Frustration builds. One of the dogs at least doesn't enjoy the interaction. Somebody snaps, or worse case is a dog fight breaks out on leash. Most dog owners don't even really know how to hold a leash without having tension, because most dogs pull while they're on walks. And now we're adding another dog into that tension. Disasters waiting to happen. Now, what most owners don't realize as well is that letting your dog meet other dogs on leash, whether it's going good or bad, is a great way, and probably the easiest way, to make your dog reactive. What you're teaching your dog is that when I see another dog, something intense happens. Either it's, oh my God, we have to go meet them. I love other dogs. I really, really enjoy this interaction. Or it's, I hate other dogs. Why are we doing this? Both are forms of reactivity. Now, the hard truth is that your dog doesn't need to meet any dogs while they're on a walk. They don't need to have doggy friends when they're on a walk. The dog world is not like the human world. It doesn't operate like a social networking app. Stop humanizing your dog. The juice just isn't worth the squeeze. Number 3 is forcing guest interactions on your dog. This one creates so many future problems. When guests walk into the door, most owners immediately will do one of the following, if not all of them. Force the dog to greet, allow the guest to reach over and try to touch your dog, putting the hand in the dog's face to try to interact, forcing treats into their face, or letting the guest stare at and baby talk your dog. Oh my God, he's so cute, blah, 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 all the time. Now, these are not great habits, especially if you have a dog that does struggle with a behavioral challenge such as reactivity, anxiety, or fear. Now, the problem with this is that you are limiting your dog's choices in their interactions. These interactions with new people are high pressure situations for dogs. You are taking away the option of flight by forcing the interaction to happen, so your dog is left with fight. That's where growling, barking, snapping, and even biting happens, is because they are left with no other choice, and that's just what happens. Now, this is important even if your dog is the friendliest dog in the entire world. Letting your dog explode when every guest comes in allows them to rehearse other more rude and pushy behaviors, such as jumping and barking and bolting. All of these things are still not good behaviors and something that is just not necessary and something you shouldn't let your dog rehearse. Excitement problems, especially with your dog being overly excited, is still a behavioral problem that we do want to address. Now, all three of these mistakes have one thing in common. You're allowing your dog to rehearse emotional instability. Window barking rehearses arousal, on-leash greetings rehearse tension, and forced greetings with guests rehearse chaos. And at the end of the day, dogs become what they practice. Now, if you ignore these three tips, a couple things are likely to happen. Your dog's reactivity will probably continue to get worse if you allow them to greet other dogs on leash. Your dog's reactivity is probably going to worsen if you let them bark in the window all day long, or if you let them do on-leash greetings. Your dog's general anxiety is going to go up. Your dog is going to be more aggressive potentially in certain situations, especially regarding the guest situation. Your walks are going to become stressful, or if not more stressful than they already are. And your house is just going to be chaotic. And eventually you're going to think that your dog is the problem. My dog's out of control, my dog is anxious, my dog is reactive, when in reality, the system that you provided, the environment that you created for your dog was the problem all along. Now, at the end of the day, calm dogs don't happen by accident. They are managed. They are guided. They are prevented from rehearsing bad habits. Your dog's future behavior is being shaped right now by what you're allowing them to do today. If your dog has separation anxiety, there's a very good chance that you caused it. And I don't say that to shame you. I say that because if you caused it, you can fix it. As a dog trainer that specializes in behavior modification, separation anxiety is one of the most common problems that I'm seeing right now with all the dogs that are coming into my facility. It's not random. People's lives have changed. People are home more often. People work from home now way more often than they used to. People's social lives are different. So dogs are just used to people always being around them. So when we leave, it is really new to them. So it's really hard on them, it's stressful, and it causes this thing that we call separation anxiety. Now, that's not the dog being crazy. The dog is making sense of what information we've given them. So they see human home all the time, human suddenly not home, mind panics. And that's not the dog being crazy, like I said, that's just the dog being unprepared, and that falls on the owner. Now, in my opinion, there are really only two explanations for this. And this is going to be a hard truth for a lot of people. Number one is that most dog owners, whether they realize it or not, are pretty lazy and selfish dog owners. And I know that's a hard pill to swallow, but number two would be it's just complete ignorance and they don't know what they're doing is wrong. Most dog owners have absolutely zero boundaries with their dogs, constantly shower their dogs with attention and affection, never teach them separation, and never practice being independent. And then they wonder why the dog panics and goes crazy when they are alone. It's because it's something that's completely new to them and they've never been prepared for it properly. Now, this is super, super critical. Separation anxiety, there's a big misconception about it. Separation anxiety is not just when you leave your dog alone at home and they just go crazy and they destroy things and they're destructive, etc. That's not the only way that separation anxiety exists. Separation anxiety also looks like your dog constantly following you everywhere in the house. Your dog needing constant visual access to you. Your dog whining when you close a door. Your dog panicking when you put up a baby gate. Your dog unable to settle unless they are physically touching you. And there are countless more examples that I could give you. That's where I think owners are mistaken, is because that's not your dog being loyal or your dog being protective or your dog just loving you. It is your dog being dependent on you, and that is a totally different thing. Now, why this happens is because owners constantly confuse affection with love. Constant cuddles, treats, eye contact, physical touch, baby talk, that's not love, that's overstimulation, and that's creating the emotional dependency on you in order to feel okay. It becomes very similar to a drug. It starts off feeling good, but then over time, as this becomes something that is normalized, it becomes something that the dog needs and becomes dependent upon in order to feel good. Your dog starts needing your attention in order to regulate themselves. And then when the drug disappears, withdrawal, and that's separation anxiety. Another major factor that all of the separation anxiety dogs that I see have in common is that they are severely under-exercised and under-challenged mentally and physically. And that's honestly because most owners probably don't exercise the way that they need to. So they're not making their dog's exercise needs a daily priority. So instead of exercise, instead of structured walks and play and tug and fetch and training, instead of that, dog owners are just substituting that with cuddles and more treats and just giving them constant love and letting them snuggle on the couch, and that is not the same thing. Those things that I just listed don't fulfill a dog at all. When you only do those things, I'm not saying those things are bad, but when you only do those things, it just creates instability with your dog. You're getting a dog that has pent up mental and physical needs, and you're not giving them, you're not reaching any of those, you're not helping them fulfill those needs, and you're just substituting with affection, and that's exactly what creates instability. Now, this is just a core principle that every dog owner really needs to realize, is that in order for a dog's behavior to change, the human's behavior has to change first. You cannot just keep outsourcing the dog's problem without thinking that you need to change as the dog owner first. Now, here are 3 ways that you can start fixing your dog's separation anxiety right now. Number 1, first and foremost, you need to start practicing separation when you are home with your dog. Not when you're not home, but practicing more separation when you are home. You must teach your dog that they are not entitled to your space 24/7. Now, you can start small. Close a door. Use a baby gate, use the leash, start tethering, create physical boundaries. If your dog whines and cries and barks, okay, that's fine. That's totally normal. They've never had you put any boundary on them in the first place. So that is their natural response when anything gets challenging. They give up and they start vocalizing. Now, my personal favorite way to start practicing this separation inside the house is with tethering. Tethering is when you leash your dog and you attach them to something away from you. You can start small. This could be 5 feet away from you. You can use a heavy object like a couch. You're tethering them underneath the couch. You can use a door handle. You can use any type of sturdy object in order to secure the dog in that one fixed position where they don't have access to you. That is where you start. Now, you don't want to give them too much leash. You can start off with a normal 6-foot leash. You can shrink it down to like 4 feet if you'd like. I would not attach it to anything around their neck. If you have a dog that is really struggling with this, you can definitely use a harness. The whole point of this concept of tethering is to keep your dog in a fixed position away from you. It's not an interactive activity. You are practicing calm coexistence with separation from your dog. Now, this might be something they struggle with a ton, but the more you do it, the better they're gonna get at it. The only thing that we're really looking for from them is that they are calmly able to just lay down and exist next to you. Now, it's important that we're not interacting with them. So when we're talking about ignoring your dog, no touch, no talk, no eye contact. Let them figure things out and learn how to self-soothe. The goal of this is to teach your dog to think this: I can calmly exist next to my human, but without having direct access to my human. That is independence training. Number 2, stop giving your dog attention to them every single time they approach you. What you're doing there is creating the association with you is that, hey, this person is here for me anytime I want attention, affection, etc. That's always available to me at any time of the day. So this creates, again, a dependency on going back to you all the time for reassurance. Now, I know this one makes people uncomfortable because it makes you feel like you're neglecting your dog or you're being mean to them, but it's really not. You're teaching them that that, hey, you don't always need to be on top of me in order to feel okay. So if your dog approaches you every single time you pet them, you look at them, you're giving them eye contact, you give them a treat, you give them tons of love, well, you are creating the problem that they have with the concept of separation. Now you're doing this by reinforcing attachment. Practice ignoring your dog more often. So it doesn't have to be forever, but for the time being, until your dog has a better relationship with the concept of separation, I would practice ignoring them far more often than you probably do. Now, if you're able to do this, your dog will go from a dog that is very unstable whenever they're not directly interacting with you to a dog that is much more calm, a dog that's much more confident, and a dog that's much more emotionally stable. And number 3, when you do interact with your dog, please make it count. Do something that your dog is going to actually enjoy. Dogs are not supposed to be couch potatoes. They're not supposed to just be these inactive objects that you only just keep feeding and feeding and feeding as a way to show love. They would really, really appreciate if you played with them more, if you taught them new skills. Do some training, do some obedience training, do some trick training. Do something with them that is going to challenge them mentally and physically. Go on long walks, play with them, give them something to do that involves you, something that's interactive, whether again, that's playing like tug or playing fetch or playing with the frisbee or the flirt pole. It doesn't really matter. Make your engagement with them actually count, not where you're just force feeding food down them. A properly exercised dog regulates so much better. A dog that plays with you builds confidence in you. A dog that trains with you respects structure. And that combination reduces anxiety as a whole. Now, if you don't do any of these things and you're struggling with a dog with separation anxiety issues, these are the things that you're probably going to see happen. Your dog's anxiety will worsen. Destruction is going to increase if you leave them alone. Vocalization, whining, barking, crying is going to increase. Medication is going to feel like it's your only option when it's not. You're not really going to be able to leave your dog ever, whether that's for, a short outing or whether you're actually planning a trip and you're wanting to leave your dog with somebody else. It's really hard to find good care for a dog with separation anxiety issues. So in the end, your life becomes a whole lot smaller than what it needs to be. Unfortunately, then if all those things start happening, what I've seen far too often is that resentment starts happening when this is all the owner's fault and it's so preventable. So if I could sum this all up, this is how I would do it. Boundaries are not mean. Structure is not cold. Practicing separation from your dog is not neglect. It's leadership. It's preparation. It's real love that actually prepares your dog for their everyday life. Now, if your dog can't function without you, that's not devotion, that's dependency. And dependency isn't inherited, it's created.
Have you ever wondered why your dog listens to their trainer but completely ignores you? It's not because we're special, and it's definitely not because your dog is stubborn or selective of hearing. I hear this all the time. My dog listens to their trainer but doesn't listen to me. And the difference has absolutely nothing to do with the dog. The difference is in follow-through. Now, the truth is that your dog listens to me because when I tell them to do something, when I give them direction, it matters. I am going to make them do it. There is no option for the dog to not do the command. That's the whole concept of follow-through. When you tell your dog to do something, most likely you've taught your dog the exact opposite. You've given your dog direction, you've given your dog a command, and they don't do it, or they're delayed, or you repeat yourself 10 times, and then the dog doesn't do it or doesn't do it to your liking, and nothing changes. And that's exactly why your dog doesn't listen to you the way that they listen to me. The reality is that your dog isn't ignoring you. Your dog is just going off what they know. They want you to give them a task, and then they want you to see it through to the end. If you don't do that, you're just teaching your dog that you aren't going to hold them accountable to anything you say. What you're saying is completely optional. Nothing happens if they don't comply, and that your words really just don't mean all that much. A ton of owners will tell their dog over and over again the same command without doing anything different. They'll tell their dog, buddy, sit, 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 sit. And the dog either doesn't do it, or then they break out the treat and then the dog does it immediately. So what you're teaching your dog is the word doesn't actually mean anything. You're not going to make them do it if they don't do it. You are going to just repeat the command. That's the only thing that's going to happen if they don't listen. Or you might even break out the bribe to get them to do what you want. So when the dog actually hears the sit command, nothing really goes off. They don't think, hey, my owner is telling me to do something, I must do this. They just think, they're just hearing you just go off more and more and more. And then you finally grab their attention when you get your bribe out, and that's exactly the opposite of what you're actually trying to teach them. Another example that I see a lot is using recall in the backyard. Your dog's off leash in their backyard, sniffing around, going to the bathroom, etc. And you tell your dog, come. And you might say that over and over again. And then you see your dog looks over to you, notices you make eye contact directly with your dog, and then your dog continues to go on doing whatever they were doing in the beginning. You go off and then you go and try and grab your dog later, or maybe your dog comes and scratches on the door, letting you know that they're coming in. And think about what the dog learns there. You requested that they came in, and they said, no thanks, I'm not coming in right now. And nothing happened. There was no follow through on that command. You did not make them come in when you said to come in. You just repeated yourself a bunch and then gave up. Now, why your dog listens to me is I am the exact opposite of that. I tell your dog to do something and then I follow through if they don't do it. What that means is I will tell the dog a verbal cue one time, whether that's sit, down, place, leave it, drop, come, it doesn't matter. I tell them one time and I give them the verbal option to do it, right? The verbal cue is do the behavior I'm asking you to do it. If they don't do it, I'm going to either use a hand signal or I'm going to use the leash, most likely, to enforce the dog into that position. I'm going to make sure that they understand, hey, when I tell you to do something, I'm going to make you do it. I'm not going to beg you. I'm not going to negotiate. I'm not going to repeat myself over and over again. I am literally just going to make you go into that behavior. An example of that would be if I told my dog to place and my dog goes up to the placemat and then starts sniffing around. I'm just going to use the leash to leash them on, to drag them onto the cot, and then I'm going to release the pressure on the leash. Now, what the dog learns in that moment is that, hey, when my owner says something or when my trainer says something, I have to do the command, otherwise I'm going to be put into that position. And that's not mean, that's not cruel, that's not harsh, that's literally just backing up what you're saying. That is why your dog listens to your trainer and not you. Trainers will back up what we say because we want the dog to actually listen to us. In most situations, your dog sees there to be 3 outcomes. Number 1, verbal cue. Number 2, verbal cue maybe with follow through. Or number 3, just ignore the command altogether. The difference between a trainer and you, most likely, is that we remove that 3rd option. There is no scenario where I'm going to tell any one of my dogs, my personal dogs, or any of the dogs I work with to do something and then not see it through to the end. That's the difference. The real issue is that you probably talk to your dog a lot. You give them a lot of direction. You give them a lot of suggestions, but very little of it actually impacts their life. When you tell your dog to do something, if they disregard it, nothing happens. So what you're teaching your dog is that you do talk a lot, but none of it really has any impact on them. So they do learn to tune you out. So when direction and guidance become optional, your dog will stop checking in. They'll tune you out completely. Your obedience will be reliable at best. You're probably going to have to use bribes in order to get your dog to actually comply with anything you're trying to tell them. And then frustration is going to grow on both sides. You're going to be like, well, why do you do this for your trainer and you don't do it for me? And your dog's going to basically, if they could tell you, they would say, hey, he's consistent. You're not. So the cost of all this is, and why does this even matter, is that if you want your dog to actually listen to you where you don't have to repeat yourself over and over again, you do have to follow through on what you say. So if I give a dog any command, what I want to teach owners to is that if you're not in position to enforce the command, then don't use it. If you're not going to follow through on what you say, then don't say it. Now, this is hard for people because it makes them realize how much they do communicate to their dogs verbally without any type of accountability for the dog. So that's the hardest part, is you do have to restructure the way that you are communicating with your dog so that your dog understands that you do follow through on what you say. So if this continues, your commands will lose meaning, your recall will be non-existent, your boundaries will disappear, and most importantly, your trust with your dog is going to disappear as well. Your dog is going to think hey, this person gives me a lot of information, they stimulate me a lot, but it doesn't really ever impact my actual life. So this is when dogs are going to start controlling their own environments. They're going to start doing whatever they want because they know that they can. They know that you're not going to do anything about it. So what's the point? So how can you approach this and what can you do differently? Something I tell all of my clients is, again, if you're not in the position to enforce the command, then do not give it. If your dog is off leash, you are not in a position to enforce the command. All of this to be said too is that when you're making your dog do this, the point of this is to be calm. You're supposed to give calm guidance, calm leadership. So when I'm bringing my dog back onto the place cot, it's just using the leash to guide them on. It's not grabbing and forcefully throwing them onto the place cot or forcefully putting them into a sit or, anything like that where it's really, really intense. That's not going to help you either. You want to be calm and very intentional with what you're telling your dog. If you tell your dog to do something, make sure that they do it. An important part of this too is if you aren't in the mental position to want to follow through on these type of things, if you're just don't have the patience for training that day or anything like that, it's okay to not do that day. It's far more beneficial to stop, know yourself, know if you're in a position to feel like enforcing the things that you're saying. And if you're not, then don't do it. That's going to do far more damage to you and your dog's relationship is if you are getting frustrated or you're not in positions to enforce it, so then they're not doing it. You're just going to ruin your relationship that way and really just make your words meaningless to them. Ultimately, this is a mindset shift. Leadership is not about dominance. It's not about being alpha. It's not about being intense. It's about following through calmly with intention. It really is about being consistent enough with your direction and with your guidance so that your dog doesn't second guess it. So why does your dog listen to your trainer and not you? It's simply because the trainer has shown your dog through consistency, through intention, that their words have meaning. Their words have weight. So if you want to get better with this type of stuff, you just need to be a little bit more intentional with what you're saying. If you are going to tell your dog to do something and they don't comply, make them comply. If you want your dog to listen to you, your words have to actually impact their life in some way. The moment that you start following through with your dog calmly, consistently, and clearly, your dog will start listening to you too. Does your dog completely ignore one person in the house, yet listen perfectly for another person? Do they drag one member of the family down the street every single walk, yet walk beautifully for someone else? Do they jump all over your husband or your wife, but they would never even think about doing it to you? You're not imagining it. Dogs absolutely behave differently around different people. And once you understand why this happens, you're going to look at your relationship with your dog in a completely different way. As a dog behavior specialist, I see this thing almost every single day with my clients. One person will tell me, my dog doesn't do this ever. And then the other person in the family says he does it all the time for me. In this scenario, we've got the same dog, but two different owners, so we get different results each time. Why does that happen? Let's talk about it. All right, so let's talk about it. First things first, dogs don't just have one personality that they apply to every single person in their life. This is one of the biggest misconceptions that I think dog owners have, is that their dog is the same wherever they put them. And that is just so not true. And that's because it's not about personality. It's really about relationships. Your dog absolutely has different relationships with everybody in its life, both dog and human. Dogs evaluate every relationship independently of one another. They learn what rules apply to what people. If you've been following the channel for any bit of time, you probably know about my Cane Corso Booker. I don't even know where to begin with this dog. He is by far the most challenging dog I've ever worked with in my life. Over hundreds of dogs that I've worked with, he is by far the most challenging, but he gets all the credit for turning me into what I am today, which is a very successful dog trainer and dog behavior specialist, helping so many owners every single day at my facility. Booker, even from the moment that I brought him in as a rescue, I got him as a 1-year-old, he was never an easy dog. He came to me with significant leash reactivity towards other dogs on the leash, making walking him as a complete novice, non-dog trainer that I was when I got him, impossible. It was a miserable walk each time. As a 100-pound Cane Corso, he pulled like a freight train. On top of that, he was a resource guarder when we first got him as well, which as a novice, again in the beginning, was not an easy thing to help him through. And as an under-socialized 1-year-old adolescent Cane Corso, he definitely was not welcoming to people and new people coming into his life, such as my guests. And as we worked on overcoming his issues together, something really interesting happened. Booker completely stopped trying those behaviors with me. Not because he became a different dog all of a sudden, but because our relationship together changed. Booker learned through repetitions and repetitions that these behaviors no longer work with Bill anymore. They don't work with Dad anymore. But guess what? He still tried all of those same behaviors, all the ones that we were trying to work through together. He still did all of them for my wife, Patricia. Even as he had made so much progress and was improving with me, he was still pulling for her, still very reactive on the leash for her, would still test her boundaries. And why does that happen? Was that her fault or his fault or what happened? Well, it's pretty simple. Their relationship just hadn't changed yet. This comes down to the fact that dogs are constantly testing each relationship in their life, and I don't think owners realize exactly what that means. Even as you do all of this work, your dog's not learning, I will never pull again. They do start realizing, though, I can't pull with this person. So Booker thought, okay, I've realized I cannot pull with Dad any longer. He no longer allows it. He will correct me for it, and he will make sure that I'm walking a certain way. But maybe it still works with Mom. Maybe Mom will still let me bark at all the other dogs. Maybe Mom will still let me test every boundary with her. And if she does, if she allows it, I'm gonna keep doing it because I like it. This is because dogs don't generalize relationships like people do. They learn relationships individually. Okay, be honest. Is your dog able to get away with things with you and not with somebody else? Or is it the other way around? Let me know in the comments. This is where my wife, Patricia, gets a lot of credit from me, and I know a lot of credit from Booker as well. She definitely could have taken the easy way out. You know, a 100-pound Cane Corso is no easy task for anybody, but especially for somebody who didn't really sign up for a dog that is almost as big as her with behavioral issues. It could have been very easy to say, well, yeah, at least he listens to Bill. So many owners do this, and I know that they do. But again, to her credit, she didn't do this. She learned how to communicate effectively with Booker. She followed through on what she was saying. She became clear, predictable, and consistent, and Booker appreciated that like every single dog does. And today, she can do everything that I can do with Booker because she put in the work. She likes to take him to the mall, and he is completely neutral everywhere he goes. He doesn't bark at anybody. He doesn't bark at any dogs. He can see dogs barking at him, and he still is neutral because she put in the work. She can handle him on a day-to-day basis in the house, which he would never let her do in the beginning. She can correct him, and he takes it now. And that's because their relationship changed. It didn't change overnight, but Booker's all of his behaviors that we didn't like, that I got rid of for me, she got rid of for her too because she stayed consistent and she improved their relationship together. Ultimately, dogs are incredible pattern learners. They realize very quickly who means what they say and who is full of shit. I will tell that to everybody all the time, all of my clients. I said it here before. Dogs are so good at figuring out who actually means what they say and who is just blowing smoke. They figure out who follows through, who gives up, who's consistent, who never actually means what they say. Dogs notice every little minor detail. They pick up on these patterns so quickly, and this is what ultimately defines your relationship with your dog. They don't judge us, they just simply learn what works with each person in the house. I'll give you another personal example using my 3 dogs because I think they really are the perfect example for what I'm about to tell you. Because remember, relationships apply to each person or other dog that your dog interacts with every single day. So if you don't know, I've got 3 dogs. I've got Booker, who I told you about, who's a 5-year-old Cane Corso. I've got Bones, who is my 7-year-old English Mastiff. And I've got Bullet, who we call Wooly. He is my 9-year-old Pitty. Bones is my biggest dog. He weighs the most. He's about 130 pounds. Booker is about 100 pounds. And Wooly's about 70 pounds or so. Booker is the youngest dog, Bones is the middle child, and then Wooly is our senior. He's our old man. With this being said, Booker constantly tests Bones' boundaries. Why does that happen? He's the biggest dog in the house. Why does he test him, but he never
tests Woolie's boundaries. Examples of this would be if Bones is drinking water and Booker's thirsty, he would probably kind of just nudge him out of the way and start drinking some water. But he would never do that if Woolie was drinking water. If Woolie was drinking water, he would wait his turn and then he would go. I posted an example of this exact type of scenario on my Instagram a few weeks ago. We had just finished a tub of yogurt, and my wife would go to give Bones a lick of the yogurt when we were done with it out of the tub, and he would be enjoying it, and here comes Booker, and he'd be inserting his face in there to start licking there as if Bones wasn't there. But every single time we gave it to Woolie so that Woolie could eat the yogurt out of the tub, Booker would stand and wait his turn. And that's because Woolie is the king of boundaries, and he's the king of setting firm boundaries, and he did that years ago when we first introduced Booker into the house. Woolie was Mr. Boundary. He would set boundaries on his space. He would set boundaries on when he has things and just to be left alone when he wants to be left alone. And Bones, on the other hand, like I said, he's our biggest softie. He will let everything happen. If he is playing with a toy, Booker will come and take the toy if he wants to, and Bones will just let him. So Booker has learned, okay, you can take advantage of Bones. He's a big softie. Even though he's bigger than you can walk all over him. That's fine. And with Woolie, even though you could, he's older than you, he's more fragile, and he is smaller than you got to respect that guy. He sets boundaries. You got to listen to him. So dogs will do this with people, but they also do it with other dogs. Each relationship is judged and analyzed by every dog individually. Just because it does one thing with one dog one way doesn't mean it will do it to the next dog. Same thing with people. Just because it listens to one person in the house doesn't mean automatically it will listen to the other. And don't worry, we never let Booker actually do these things. I advocate for my dogs. I don't let him do these behaviors consistently ever because I want all dogs in my house to feel safe. So in the end, if your dog behaves differently around different people, that is okay, and that is very, very normal. They're not being fake, they're not being manipulative, they're not being on their best behavior. They're just responding to the relationship that they've built with each individual person. That's why one of the most common problems in the dog world happens, where the dog listens to one owner but not the other. This is exactly why that happens. One of the biggest mistakes that dog owners make is assuming that respect from your dog just gets transferred to each person in that dog's life. It doesn't. Relationships are earned individually. Communication is learned individually. Leadership is built individually. The good news? Relationships are not permanent. Just like with humans, they can change. Just like they did for my dog Booker with myself and with my wife Patricia. He didn't become a new dog, he just developed a different relationship with both of us. It's not easy. You have to change your habits, you've got to put in the work, but that is the power of consistency. That's the power of being clear and following through. And that's the power of leadership and building the relationship that your dog actually needs to have with you in order to be their best self. As always, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I want you to be here. I want to be able to help as many dog owners as possible. I'm the Big Dog Guy, and I'll see you in the next one.